Hola, hola. I'm Neto Velasco. I'm a graphic designer and a photographer from Mexico living in Los Angeles, California. Welcome back to another episode of Coffee with Photographers. Today, I'm with two of my friends that I met through Instagram, David Lopez, who was on the last episode,
What's
and
up?
Manny. How are you, Manny? How are you, David?
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you
All
so
right,
much
so
for meeting with me.
You told me that this was our podcast.
Oh man.
So these guys have a podcast of themselves, also involving coffee, right?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
photography. So what's up with that? How are you guys doing with that?
Well, it's on hiatus right now
Yeah.
Okay.
because
I think-
I've
'Cause
been
of COVID?
busy.
He's
Well,
been
not
busy.
even COVID. I've been busy with, you guys have been following me on Instagram. I've been doing some stuff with the city of Pasadena.
Yeah, you've been very busy with
we're,
that.
Doing a campaign for the holidays to help promote a lot of the small businesses that got impacted by the pandemic.
That's great.
So that's been keeping me busy because I've been cranking out a video for them, both shooting and editing every week, which I'm really happy because it's paid the bills.
Of course.
But the schedule is just it's been a while since I've been working like that, so it's nice.
It's kind of better that way because I've been having computer issues. So.
Yeah.
Well, you're getting a new computer coming next week.
Well, I fixed the one that I'm having issues on, so now that's dedicated audio computer. So
Okay.
we'll be okay as long as that doesn't die.
Yeah.
So you're getting your new computer next week. What did you get?
I got an iMac, 27-inch,
Damn.
2020.
Going all out.
2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
The
was
only good thing about 2020.
I know,
I
right?
know. I was telling you that my MacBook Pro is 2015.
Yeah.
And it's slow. It's very slow. Especially
one I
now
used for-
that I'm trying to do more video.
Uh-huh.
It's so slow.
Just get a 16-inch, dude.
I know. I want to, but then with the M1 13-inch coming out,
Oh man.
then I'm wondering. I don't like the 13-inch because it's too small.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I go out on a gig or something, I do like the 16-inch.
Mm-hmm.
But is that coming out soon? Like,
I didn't
are
really
they gonna
say.
do something about that?
They will. It'll be out. This is the guinea pig. I think the
Yeah.
13-inch is the guinea pig. Because they made
the Mac Mini too.
They made a Mac Mini. They made
yeah.
the MacBook and then a MacBook Air, right?
It was MacBook Air, MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, and they're just gonna run it. Basically, they're still trying to get all the programs to work with it.
I'm just blown away by the architecture because, I just recently bought the 16-inch MacBook Pro and it has a 6-core i7, 16 gigs of
Crazy.
RAM, a 4 gigabyte video card by AMD, and integrated graphics. But the M1 is all that in one chip. You got up to 16 gigs of RAM. I think it was up to 8 cores.
Mm.
And then in those 8 cores, they have high performance cores, so 4 high performance cores, and then 4 non-high performance cores, just kind of for
Yeah.
basic tasks like web browsing and
Yeah.
I guess they're called efficiency cores. Now that I remember that. Then there's this other chip in there for I guess machine learning or some bullshit, and then they have a built-in GPU. I forgot how much memory. I'm gonna say up to let's say 8 gigs. But that's all in one chip.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know, but it's gonna suck because you just bought the 2020 iMac, and that's the last one that you're gonna be able to upgrade the RAM on.
And it's also the last one that you're able to put boot camp on. So what they're trying
That's
to do
true.
now is they're going to
Oh.
end boot camp, and I think they're trying to kill off the way people make Hackintoshes because now everything's going to be optimized to their chips.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's unless you're running an older OS,
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to do
I know a few people with Hackintoshes.
Hackintoshes anymore.
But
I
you were
think that's
saying
what they're
it was
trying to
even
do.
cheaper to buy more RAM, on another
Oh,
website,
yeah.
right?
If you go buy RAM anywhere else, it's fine. Apple just charges an arm and a
Yeah.
leg to
That's
upgrade
crazy.
it.
Why do they do that?
They gotta make money.
I mean, they're already making so much
They
money.
gotta make more money, man.
Come on, they just released the iPhone 12, iPhone 12 Pro, iPhone 12 Pro Max, and the Mini.
Well,
And
I think
iPads-
they kind of expected it, which is why
Yeah.
all the base start
crazy.
off at 8 gigs. They kind of expect
Okay,
people
okay.
to do. They left it that way, I think,
Mm-hmm.
on purpose. And then if people are lazy enough to just say, "Fuck it, I'll spend $300 on RAM."
I mean,
guess.
with me, it's I bought the base 16-inch. I was gonna go for 32 gigs, but I was just
Too
the
crazy.
most I'll edit is 1080p anyway.
Yeah.
And from the little bit of video editing I've done in 4K, it handles it. So I mean, for me, 16 is enough. But I know if I eventually will get more serious about video editing, I think I will just get a dedicated desktop, just because
Yeah, of course.
performance is gonna be way
Makes
better.
sense. And with your Canon EOS R6, you're recording in 1080 or you're recording 4K and just downsampling too?
No, I always do 1080 just
Okay.
because the 4K overheats after 30. Well, in my non-scientific tests, Literally, I just put it on the desk and I just let it run. I got like about 40 minutes before it overheated.
Have you ever tried it like on a gig, like with the Pasadena City, like filming
Everything's
4K?
1080. Just because with the content that they're making it's gonna live on Instagram and Facebook, and it's gonna compress the shit out of it. So I don't bother with 4K, and also I'd rather not have it potentially overheat.
Of course.
Especially because
in the middle of the shoot.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this last time. Like the overheating, I think is definitely software, and I think you mentioned it too.
Yeah.
Because like I pulled the battery out and everything, and it's warm, like.
But not
like
hot?
Not stupid hot. Like
Okay.
like when my Sony overheated, that was hot. But that was because I was shooting 100-degree weather.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And you're shooting more video, right, Manny?
No,
Like,
I mainly do photography, so I'm breaking in the video, so this is kind of like my entry. Like, well, now that I have a computer that I'm able to do it, I'm also start practicing it and learning it and just trying to like hone the craft, especially with ideas that I have. I want to start trying to do like certain things.
That's great. So on the last episode, David talked about his photography, but what's up with you? Like you and photography, are you doing? What type of photography do you do?
I mainly do boudoir as far as business goes, and then like for fun, I do street, I do concerts, I do like I try to pick one thing to do just for business, so I can just focus on that. So like boudoir is mainly my business side of things, which isn't going so well right now.
Yeah,
so it's kind of on hold. So
nothing's
right now
going
I'm just
well
kind of
right now.
Right now I'm just kind of doing some more street, do more like. I mean, if concerts come back around, I'll do that. But I'm just mainly just trying to play with light more, like trying to perfect that. So that way when I do get back into boudoir, I know what I want to do with it. Because I like doing more moody, more like artsy style boudoir. I don't do the typical just, I'm going to shoot a girl in a bikini or, lingerie and call it boudoir.
For the Instagram likes.
Yeah.
There's a very fine line with that. No?
Yeah, and I kind of mix mine a little bit more of a fine art. So it's more fine art meets boudoir, like that's the style I like.
And how does that work? Like someone hits you up, they're like, hey, I want to do this shoot, or you hit someone up?
Well, how I was doing when I started, I basically got like 10 people. I found like 10 people that wanted to do it. They helped me build my portfolio, and I had them sign like a contract waiver, like I'm basically trading
services.
So basically they're getting the pictures and I'm getting to be able to use them on my website and on my Instagram, and they know I'm going to use it. So
you sign a contract or something?
Yeah, and then they also can pick and choose, like if there's something they don't want online, I won't put them online. If there's something they just don't want on Instagram because family and stuff on Instagram versus like no one's going to really go onto the website and look at stuff. Yeah. Like as far as what they're concerned. So it's kind of like that. I set up like a contract with them on that, and then I'm also going to use them. Like if I get a new lens or I get a new light and I want to try something out, then I can call them up and
that's great.
We'll trade something. So that's kind of how that is. So what happened is when I started it, a lot of people seen their pictures and they started hitting me up. I started like trying to book stuff, and then COVID hit, and then it all went out the door. So I'm like, damn it, I just got started and it ended so quick.
The pandemic really kind of like forced everyone to kind of adapt.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. What were you guys doing before the pandemic? Like as photographers?
Well, for me, it was mostly like events, like weddings and stuff like that. And obviously now with COVID, I've only shot one wedding so far. That was back in July. It was a backyard wedding.
Okay.
Very, easy to shoot just because it's it's someone's backyard. It was more or less social distance. I mean, I still wore my mask regardless. But that was the only wedding I've shot this year.
In 8 months.
In 8 months. And, obviously pay wasn't as big as what a typical wedding would pay. I'm still grateful for it. But now, like, I've actually really found more business doing product photography. I mean, if you guys see my Instagram, it's littered with, like, knives and cards and watches. I just bought a new watch yesterday.
I saw that.
It's a badass watch.
Yeah, man, it's dope.
So you're shooting a lot of product shots.
Yeah. So that's actually gotten me more work, just because now, especially like big companies and other businesses like coffee shops like need content.
Yeah.
And that's just something I feel like I'm really fortunate to be able to like pivot into that, because not a lot of people can.
I know you adapted to the circumstance and you're killing it. And you, Manny, how was it, like, photography-wise before COVID, and how did you adapt? What's going on right now?
Photography-wise, back then, before the pandemic hit, I was mainly doing, like, portraits and family portraits, so I wasn't making that much money, and I wasn't really too happy doing it because I felt like I didn't have the freedom, the like artistic freedom in doing it. So I kind of just broke away from that, and that's why I started focusing on the boudoir. And then the pandemic hit, so I just kind of stopped that, and I just kind of went back to, okay, I'm just going to have fun now and just kind of practice my craft while I'm still, because I work on elevators.
Okay.
So I basically am fortunate enough to still have work during it all, so I've just been focusing on that, just trying to learn more with that, and then just perfecting my craft with photography.
That's great. Yeah, COVID, like, it's been tough for every photographer that I know. And we have learned to adapt. Like, before COVID, everything was so different. I was shooting concerts, like, every week.
I've seen the pictures you've been posting. They're really good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was, like, almost every week shooting concerts, like, for different magazines or different PR companies, for the bands themselves. I was doing a lot of skateboarding competitions. There's a big one that I've been doing for the past 7 years here in LA. The Vans US Open.
Oh, okay.
That's badass.
That's so good. That's in Huntington Beach. And they had like the pros of like BMX, skateboarding, and they would hire me every year. So this was going to be like the 7th year, but because of COVID, they're like, nope, we don't need you this year. I'm like, oh, jeez. That was fun to do, and it was, it paid well. And then I was doing a lot of portraits, things like that. Lifestyle shots for companies. Like they were like, hey, Neto, we'll send you clothes, get models, like just go outside, take some shots and send them over.
Yeah, that's badass.
After COVID, none of what I'm talking right now, like I've had nothing. Like nothing. No company has hit me up like, we need lifestyle shots, because of course they're saving their money, or they're like
recycling photos,
recycling pictures. Concerts, they're gone.
Yeah.
Skateboarding competitions, they're gone.
Yeah.
So it's been very hard. What has keeping me like motivated is hanging out with you guys.
Yeah.
Like hanging out with other creative people. That's why like sometimes I annoy you guys like on the chat. I'm like, hey, let's do this week.
At least you're not asking me for a free camera, because I got so many messages saying like, "Hey, give me camera." I'm like, "No,
you
fuck
told
yourself."
me that last time.
Actually, somebody commented on the photo I posted of the 135 this morning. Someone said, "Give me this lens." And I was like, and I just responded with the middle finger emoji. And that same person DM'd me asking me the same thing. I just responded with a middle finger.
Oh, man.
Okay, I find that so crazy.
He already gave it away. He gave it to me.
Yeah, I gave it to him.
How can you ask for something for free? Like, I don't even ask for a coffee for free. Nothing for free.
Man.
Yeah, nothing in life's free. I mean, it's like, I guess because my account's at 45K.
Damn.
People, and I'm not saying that to flex. I think it's just the perception of like, you have a big following, so therefore you must be very successful in your industry.
Sure.
Which, I am fairly successful, but I'm not fucking rich, man. I'm not like...
You cannot give away lenses or cameras.
I mean, I wish, and if anything, I'd give it to my friends, because I was like, yeah, man, I'm going to help my friends out first, and then everyone else could come second. But...
Okay, here's the thing. Do you think, for instance, Peter McKinnon, he has, 5.5 million on YouTube? I don't even know in his Instagram, but...
I think it's like close to 2 million?
2 million. That's insane. Do you think he gifts lenses and cameras to people that ask for them?
No.
I don't think so.
So
if anything, I could see him giving stuff to like his friends because they've helped him.
Yeah.
But I don't think to random people, unless it's sponsored by like.
Yeah, true.
Somebody. I mean, if he's getting something free and he's giving it away, it's because the sponsorship's giving it to him for his.
And I think I saw a video, not on Peter McKinnon Instagram, YouTube. What's his friend's name?
Matty Hapoya?
Yeah, that guy. He was like, he had a friend who was getting into vlogging. So Matty was like, okay, I'm going to do a video about this. So in the video, he gives this person like a full camera, like a lens, some lights, like everything in order to do the vlog. But that was his friend.
Yeah.
So that made sense.
Yeah, and it's like if I'm able to get to that like size and level of success, like I want to take care of the people that have helped me along the way, because it's like,
I hope you consider us your friends.
You're on the bottom of the totem pole though. Adrian's on the bottom.
Adrian. I have not met that friend, Adrian.
We'll bring him next time. He's really fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, I definitely would consider helping my friends first.
Yeah. Of course.
Especially, and that's kind of like what how I treat my following. It's like, I have a big following. I'm lucky to say I have a big following, And, you know, I like to help, like, promote you guys. I like to promote my friends over at Espresso Cuts because they're great people. You know, use your following for good and not be like the typical influencer that's like douchey and does a bunch of stupid things.
I know, man. It's crazy. I told you this last time. Like, with a good following comes like great responsibility.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I just gotta make sure if my Uncle Ben's okay.
I know, that's on a Spider-Man. I've been trying to grow my Instagram, but every day I'm disappointed at myself, at Instagram. I don't know if I don't have what it takes. I don't know if it's the algorithm.
I think it's the algorithm.
I don't know what's happening. Like, my Instagram was doing good. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, like, nothing. Like,
mine took a shit too.
Like,
well,
what is
they
happening?
keep changing it.
But, like, every week it's different.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
what is it? Like, what's going on?
I know because, you know, I'm going to get a little political here because of the recent election.
True.
They basically turned off the recent tab for hashtags.
The hashtags. Yep.
Now you can't see the most recent photos using that hashtag because they're saying that Facebook suspects that there's going to be a lot of misinformation about the election, fraud, and all that stuff being like propagated through there.
And I can see that.
And but at the same time, we're getting messages, and I'm pretty sure you guys have gotten this on your page, where it's like, hey, your post is doing like 95% better than your recent post. Like, spend this much money to boost it.
Yeah.
Well, it's them basically saying like, hey, pay us and we'll make sure that your posts are seen, which is shitty.
It's because it's owned by Facebook now.
And not everybody has money.
True.
But number 3, all the misinformation about the election, you can find it fucking anywhere, man.
Yeah.
Like, you can Google stuff and you'll find like conspiracy theories and all this stuff.
And do you guys like think like somebody's gonna post a political thing under the hashtag Canon EOS R6?
No, I don't think so. And if they do, because a lot of these hashtags have millions of followers, it's gonna get buried like that.
Yeah.
Unless the photo's really well like composed and edited and just looks fucking like a banger.
Yeah.
Then maybe. But I mean, like, I'll post stuff on using the Canon hashtag, and like my shit's like not even like in the first couple scrolls. Like, you have to really dig deep.
Yeah.
It's crazy how Instagram works. Mm-hmm. And as I said, like, especially during this time, I want more clients, you know? And I've played with the idea, like, okay, if I want to teach photography, right? Mm-hmm. I've taught photography like all my life in Mexico, especially film photography, because I was like very, very into that, and I know my way, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to grow my following in order to teach photography. But it's just been crazy. And then with election, hashtags not working, the algorithm. I got that post that said like, hey, promote this post and you'll do great. I did it just to try it out. I promoted a post that I did. I think I uploaded it last week or 2 weeks ago. I put only $5. And it didn't do that well.
No, you got to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, if it's because I spent only $5.
The thing with Instagram, and more so on the Facebook side of things, because my friend Eddie, he has this page called the Yum Yum Foodie. Okay. Has like over 100,000 followers. He's a food guy. Yeah. And he says that at least on Facebook, and I guess you could kind of say the same thing now on Instagram. It's starting to become more pay to play. So if you really want to grow it, unless you're somebody like on YouTube like Peter McKinnon or Casey Neistat who just blew the fuck up, you're gonna have to spend your chunk of change to get out there. Yep. But then Facebook's just gonna start saying like, hey, you haven't promoted your stuff recently, so we need some money.
That's what I'm scared about. Like, I only put $5, which is nothing for them, I know. Yeah. But now I'm scared that what if now that they see I've spent $5, they expect me to spend $5 on each post. Yeah. And if I don't, then they'll limit my, like, people to view my post, I guess. Because here's the thing, like, 3 days ago, or 4 days ago, I made a post. It was me and my wife, right? We're both tattooed. That one got, like, 450 likes. And my reach was, like, incredible. Next day, I'm like, let's see if like, I still get this reach. I posted a picture, 30 likes.
Yeah, it's
30.
Crazy.
That's like, dude.
It also boils down to like the time of day. There's so many little factors.
I know.
Like, I stopped giving a shit because recently, if anything that is not a camera or gear related, I know is gonna struggle
With anything that's not a niche, pretty much.
Yeah.
You have to have a niche in order to like get somewhere. I'm thinking.
Because with EDC, it's like it's very niche, but it's also broad.
Yeah.
And then obviously doing like landscapes, cityscapes, all that stuff. That's very like that's really really broad. But typically, like I'll get on average like about 300 some likes. I think the most I've seen recent was about 500.
Okay.
But then when I post a photo of a camera or a lens or whatever, it usually breaks 1,000 like within a few hours.
Crazy. But does that like give you some type of? Are you pressured by uploading this type of pictures?
Not really, because it's like my page started as Canon dude, and like it was the whole concept of it was just to basically just make gear porn.
Yeah.
And
that's how I knew about you.
Yeah, and that's how I met Manny too.
Oh. It worked.
Both y'all slid into my DMs.
And you know why? Because you tagged the location Pasadena.
Yeah.
And I live in Pasadena. So I'm like, this guy has great gear. He takes great pictures. He lives in Pasadena. Let me hit him up. To be honest, I didn't expect you to reply.
I was reply. I always like, as long as you don't basically
ask for a camera.
Ask for a camera or just say hey, and then just like not give me context as like what
just
the fuck
hey?
do you want. Yeah, because I've gotten people say hey. And then
Crazy.
like because I have it set so if you're not already following me, it sends it to a separate inbox.
Oh yeah, to the general one, right?
Yeah, and I have to approve it.
Oh yeah, true.
So if somebody just says hey, I'll go and read the message because it pings me that I got a message.
Yes.
And I was like, I'll wait a few minutes. I was like, okay, what do you want? Like, what's your question? ¿Qué quieres?
Yeah.
And if they don't add anything other than that, I just delete it.
Yeah.
But it's like I know you hit me up about the RF 24-70.
Yeah.
And we had a conversation. Now we're friends. And
I hit you up because of the podcast.
Yeah, and you hit me up, and now we're friends.
And to be honest, the podcast is a great thing, like to have an excuse to make friends.
Yeah.
Like you guys know how it is in LA. Like it gets lonely.
Yeah.
And people either hang out with you because they want something, right? A lens or a camera or something.
Following.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, hey, let's hang out. And they like never reply back.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. It's a lonely city. And
everyone's really pretentious out here.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like in the photography industry, there's a lot of ego too.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So
I think the only city that you can go to where it's not as pretentious is Venice, because everybody in Venice Beach is just fucking stoned and chill.
Dude, it's so crazy. Venice Beach.
That's probably why Casey lives out there.
Yeah.
Does he live in Venice or Santa Monica?
No, he lives in Venice.
Venice?
Yeah.
I think he has a studio or something out there now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's so crazy that Venice Beach is like more chill. And then you just like walk to Santa Monica Beach, which is like a 15-minute walk.
Uptight.
And it's so different. Like, I know for a fact they don't even allow tattoo shops in Santa Monica.
Really?
Oh, wow.
I
But
didn't
in
even know that.
Venice, they have like tons of tattoo shops.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty cool.
It's
It's
crazy.
like different parts of Orange County. You go to certain parts of Orange County,
yeah.
they're uptight, and they just so like don't want to talk to you. And then you go to other parts, and they're just like, you talk to the wrong person, you're gonna get shot.
Damn. It's crazy over there. I've heard very crazy things about Orange County. My wife went there and she got yelled at because she was wearing a mask. And in the area where she was, no one was wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And they were like yelling at her.
Like Huntington Beach is like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I go to Huntington Beach to take like pictures of the pier. I'm wearing my mask, and there's like nobody there with a mask. It's crazy.
Really?
They're just.
They don't give a shit.
I mean, they don't say anything now if you wear a mask, but if you try to say like something about them wearing a mask, they get all crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you watch like these videos, but there's this guy. His name is Chad Goes Deep.
I have not watched
And
the videos.
he's on Instagram, but they were making. I saw his videos on Facebook, and him and another guy, they make stupid videos. They go out to Huntington Beach and they try to get people to wear masks, and they almost got their ass beat a couple
Were
times.
those the guys that were handing out masks?
Yeah, they were handing out masks.
I've
They
seen
had
that one. I've
signs
seen
and
that
like
one.
yeah, like it's crazy.
Damn. Yeah, but anyway, so the podcast had given me the opportunity to meet people like you guys and hang out. Like we did the podcast, and then after that, we've been hanging out a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like to shoot. Because, dude, everyone needs friends. Everyone
Yeah.
needs someone to talk to.
And it's also nice to have like creative friends to fall back on, because it's like all of you kind of help each other grow and like and get better at stuff. So like with me, I love product photography, and I'm happy to be able to share stuff with like Manny and the rest of the EOS R crew, because we have a group chat called EOS R crew.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So. And then, like, in turn, Manny's really good with lighting, so he teaches stuff about lighting, or, like, he's really into, like, street photography and knows a lot of like really cool like street photography accounts to follow. So like I'm learning that from him.
Yeah.
And with Adrian, he likes to really go out there and like put himself out there and like really market himself. So that kind of helps us like get a little bit more confidence. Like, all right, fuck it, let's go try it and see what happens. And then Jaden just, you know, homeboy, we just chill, man. Jaden's the chill guy.
That's cool.
Well, he's not out here because he's in San Diego.
Oh. Yeah, I feel like every person needs like a group that will uplift them and motivate them. Because like being at home, and especially in quarantine, and being at home, like you're in your own bubble, and sometimes like the mind goes places where you don't even like.
It's like your worst enemy. Dude.
And if you don't have an outlet, something to get it out, it's just gonna keep hitting you.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel that all the time.
Yep.
Like, let's talk about the most recent Peter McKinnon video with for the gimbals.
What was that?
It was fucking awesome. That's what it was. But
That's
after
crazy.
I watched it, I immediately felt depressed. I was like, "Fuck, man!
Yeah.
Like, how good is this guy?" And it's like, what do I need to do to get to that level? I mean, obviously, it's gonna be a lot of
he's
trial
had
and
what
error.
3 or 4 years now on YouTube
Yeah,
success, and that's all he's been doing is video. Like,
But he said it in one video. He's like, dude, if you want to get anywhere, just freaking do it.
yeah, keep
like
doing
keep
it.
doing
Keep
and that's true.
practicing it.
Like for instance, I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I'm like you, right? Like I get depressed. I'm like, fuck, like
you get in
that
your
person
own
is
head.
doing very well. Like he's doing great shots. I could be doing that too, but I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm at my home watching other people do it.
Yeah.
I think
You know?
Adrian talked to me about that recently, where it's like you get, I forgot the proper terminology for it, but it's like you get so, it's not even complacent, you just get so accustomed to watching people do stuff that you don't do it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what, like, brings me down too? Like, I put a video, like, 2 or 3 days ago. What was it about? Comparing the GoPro with the
Versus,
DJI Pocket 2 for vlogging, right? Because I wanted to get more into vlogging. So that video, I made it, like, kind of like for myself. I wanted to compare those cameras. And I'm like, oh, all right, I'm going to upload it because I'm sure people are going to be interested, right? And then my first comment was like, why did you do this instead of this? And you're not that much like that professional. I'm like, dude, I'm just like a regular guy trying to figure out this shit like with you, you know? But that brought me down. Like, is it even worth it like to upload?
Yeah, that's just somebody they wish they could have done that video.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm not
because
saying
I
like,
watched it, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I like the fact that you did it straight out of camera. That you didn't do something that was going to be graded. You showed people how it sounded with the mic, without the lavalier mic, how it looks just straight out of camera. Because most people, when they first start, they don't know shit about recording raw or like editing video,
That's
video.
where I'm
they
at.
want to do straight out of camera. They want to know, hey, can I do something straight out of camera?
that's where I'm at with video,
Yeah.
right? With vlogging. That's why I made the video for people who are like in the same. I'm not Peter McKinnon. I'm not gonna like shoot raw and then edit and then do all this shit. I'm like, dude, I just want to grab a camera and vlog with it.
Yeah.
Like, is the GoPro Hero 9 good or is the DJI Pocket 2 good?
Yeah.
But then, as I said, like I got these comments and then people came to my Instagram. They're like, dude, you're only a photographer. You don't even shoot video. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, it's like I get a lot of people shitting on me for getting the R6. Like, oh, where'd you get this when Sony's better? I was like, dude, I'm a fucking photographer first. And that's the thing I make clear to everybody.
It's like, I like Canon. I don't like Sony.
It's like I've shot Sony for a year, and I talked about it in the last
Yeah.
podcast. Like, and someone actually recently asked me if they should get the RP or the A7 III, and I told them, I was like, well, what are you gonna do mostly? If you're gonna do hybrid shooting, shoot a lot of video and some photos, then get the A7 because it's better in a lot of respects to video.
Yeah.
For photography, it's the inverse.
Yeah.
And the guy's much like me, where he's a photographer first, video second. So it's like, okay, you don't really need like all the crazy high-end stuff. And I just really don't understand why people shit on you nowadays for like using X brand. It's like, just enjoy your camera, dude. Let people enjoy things.
Enjoy things and like.
You want to borrow my glasses? You're in
No,
direct sun. I'm not.
You're good.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm okay. Don't worry. Thank you.
It's
though.
like hitting you.
I know. No, you're good.
Man, that's a toxic mindset to have. You're shitting on somebody that doesn't have glasses.
Oh, son of a bitch. Why don't you have glasses, Neto?
But look, like just this thing. That's why I love hanging out with you guys.
Yeah.
Like you're nice enough. Like, hey, do you need my glasses? Like nobody does that shit, you know. And that's why I love hanging out with you guys. That's why I wanted to do a podcast with both of you.
Yeah.
Because the last one I did with David, but Manny, you're killing it in street photography.
Yeah.
We went out. I saw you out there. I saw you with your 135 lens.
Lens, man. I can't get over it.
It's a badass
It's so
lens.
good.
It's super good. So tell us about that setup.
So basically, I bought I was shooting off of my 70-200 f4, and I noticed that when I was shooting, most of the time I was either at 135 or 200. I mean, yeah, having the flexibility, I did go under, but when I was shooting a lot of like surfing pictures or shooting a lot of street, I liked to snipe because it was easier, you know, because people look at you when you're trying to shoot pictures, especially with that big of a lens.
Of course.
So I was doing a lot of snipe shot, and just the compression got to me. Like, I like the look of it. I like having somebody just like isolated, or even when I was shooting some of the protests, I was using that lens too, and just the compression alone just made the picture. Like, it just told a whole different story. Even after f4, like I was shooting even at like f5.6, I think, and everybody that was in the background was still in focus. So
Even
I'm
at
like,
5.6.
Yeah, so I'm like, it's good. Like, I fell in love with that focal length, so I'm like, okay, well, I don't want a big lens, but I also shoot a lot of portraits, so I want something that I can get the best of both worlds. So I started looking into the 135. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about buying that lens. So I found an $18 vintage lens. So I bought the $18 vintage lens, and I did a couple shoots with it, and I loved it. It was a fucking awesome lens. The only problem that I had is I spent a lot of time manually focusing, and I'm still not good with it. Like, you'll probably be better with it because you've shot film, so you know how to set like ranges and know what's going to be in focus and what range. I don't know that shit yet. I'm still learning. So I've just started dabbling with the manual focus lenses, and so I'm like, okay, well, I want something that's autofocus, so that if I do have a shoot where I'm shooting a model and they're doing their thing, I don't have to worry about adjusting.
Yeah.
Or knowing if the shot's in focus. So then I went and I bought that lens used, and
from
I've just
Offer
been
Up,
kind
right?
of playing. Yeah, I've just been kind of playing with it, and I'm just waiting for the RF version, and then I'm gonna sell it and get the RF version.
Really nice lens.
We all use Canon here.
Yeah.
We love Canon. We're super excited for the new releases. It's crazy what they're doing with the lenses.
Dude, I mean, like that 85 that I just recently bought, it's so good.
That's so crazy.
And it's a macro lens. My only gripe with it, and I used it today to shoot at espresso cuts, and I was trying to get some nice tight shots of them like making the espresso. Because it focuses really slow, it's not the most ideal lens to use in
video?
Not even in video, for stills, for like action shots, but particularly like close focusing. If you're using it like at the proper range, like a typical 85, it's fine.
You're just gonna have to throw it in manual and do it manual, but you'll be able to do it.
But the problem with that is because it's a STM lens and it extends to acquire focus. You have to constantly turn the ring until it extends to the proper length. Whereas with the old 85 I had, because it was all internal, it was just quick to focus. That's why I just switched back to the 24-70, just because that lens always comes in clutch. I try to quit it because it's a boring focal length.
I know.
But then
Same here.
Something always happens where it's like, I'm gonna go to the 24-70 and then I get the shot I want.
I do the same thing.
I keep debating it too. I'm like, I want to sell it and get the 70-200 2.8.
Yeah.
But I know I'm gonna need that focal length for something. I'm like, I'll just go cheap primes on there, and I'm like, no, I just can't. It's such a good fucking lens. Like, the quality is so good out of that damn thing.
I'm really curious to see how fast to focus the RF50 1.8 is gonna be. I had pre-ordered that, by the way.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about getting it too.
It's $200.
I
man.
know.
It's
I know.
Like, and thankfully, I have the money now, so I could afford it, and that's probably gonna be like the only thing I buy.
That's what you say.
Knock on wood.
That's what we always say. That's the only thing.
Yeah,
That's the last thing.
Like, Peter did a drop yesterday, and I bought the candle that came in the rusted tin.
Oh, that candle's so
You got
good.
that one, no?
Yeah, it's so good.
I got the handkerchief, which was badass.
That's cool.
But I saw the key that they released. It was $250, but it's a 24 karat gold like skeleton key. It is fucking badass. It's just not for me.
I'm gonna share a trick with you right now.
Yeah.
Because nobody else is doing it, and I've done it a couple times.
What?
When you light the candle, when you put it out, don't blow out the candle.
Just let it.
Close the lid on it.
What's the difference?
It burns the lid, and so it leaves that skull all black. and it looks fucking badass. And you can wipe it off because it's just whatever, but it creates more texture.
That's cool.
So that's what I've been doing.
Damn.
Dude, I'm so excited to play with that.
Damn.
But
and the candle smells awesome.
Yeah, but going back to that 50, so I mean, and I think you sent the photo of it on the RP.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
so small, like perfect.
It's like having the 40 millimeter.
The pancake
lens, but like on an RF.
Yeah.
So for street photography, I think it's gonna be really good.
That's why I want it, because it's smaller profile than this thing. Like,
yeah, it's like, I mean, I love the 35, but for me, I think it's a little too wide.
I love the 35. That's my favorite.
The picture that I showed, I had a picture where it was like this. So it was that profile.
So it's probably like up to here, right?
No
it was
way.
half of this. It's like where this ring is.
That small?
Yeah, it's where that ring is.
Yeah, because
like where this focus ring is.
What they did with the control ring is they put it into the focus ring.
Oh, yeah,
and then the switch is, instead of going for like
AF?
No, where it would normally be for like image stabilization, you just flick it either for autofocus or for manual focus or a control ring.
Oh.
Yeah, so when I found that picture, I found the picture where it was facing like this, and it was a picture with the 50, so I had the 35 and the 50 just to show the comparison.
That's
and I'm
crazy.
Like,
I have not seen that one.
It's crazy. Like, I tried to make a side by side because I wanted to see how much smaller it really was, and I'm like, fuck, dude, it's like half of the size almost.
That's crazy. I did pre-order that one too because of how small it is. I mean, it's $200.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, the only reason why I don't want to have the 35 and the 50.
What?
I know, it's tiny.
That looks amazing.
Because I know I won't use it. I know I won't use both, but I think I will because I use the 35 a lot for like close in tight shots. So like, I wanted the 50 to balance out the 135, but I'm not going to be able to get a close shot like I would with that 35 because of the macro. So I'm like,
you know, it just makes me
I'm
wonder
gonna chalk it up to tools in the tool bag.
I wonder. My only thing with the 85 is why they made it an F2. Like, I know probably because of the price, they wanted to keep the price down.
Yeah,
size too.
Yeah, probably the size, but I mean,
and macro. I think that's probably why. I think if they didn't have the macro, it would have been a 1.8.
Yeah.
Is there a really big difference from a 2 to a 1.8?
Not really. I mean, in terms of size, like no. But in terms of I'm assuming because of macro capability, because if you look at, and you know, if anyone's listening, feel free to correct me on this. I think all the macro lenses currently on the market right now are either
like f2.8.
F2.8. I think the RF 85 is the only F2 that I've seen.
Okay.
Because Sony has the 90mm 2.8. They have the Canon 100mm 2.8. Then they have the non-L version. I think that's also 2.8. I'm trying to think. I'm not too familiar with Nikon's setup, so I'm assuming they have something like that. But I think if you were to do a macro shot with anything shallower than, like, I want to say even F2, I think it's going to be really hard to get all the details.
Yeah. That's
not
crazy.
Only that is most of the time you're using some type of lighting or having to have some type of light for that macro shot anyways.
Yeah.
For the picture that you took of your watch, the new one, you used the 85.
Yeah. I got super close with that.
Yeah.
I saw that. I'm like, damn, that 85 is good.
It's really good for product photography. Like, if they ever come out with an RF.4 85, I'll probably pick that up.
Yeah.
Because I like to shoot in the rain, so, like, the only trade-off with this 85 versus the EF.4 was, like, I lost the weather sealing.
Yeah.
The internal focusing, because this one extends in and out. But what I gained was macro capabilities, which for me right now, that's what's paying the bills. So, like, I'd rather invest into something that's going to make my job easier.
Of course. It will pay off the lens, like, no time. And with the weather sealing, is it, like, can you actually shoot in the rain?
Yeah, I've shot in the
rain. And get your
before.
camera, like, all wet from the rain.
I've shot it with my RP and the 135, and the 135 technically doesn't have weather sealing. It's just an L lens, but it was fucking soaked.
Yeah.
I didn't have an umbrella. It was soaked. It was raining at the pier. I fucking tried to open my umbrella to save my camera, broke my umbrella, and so I just threw my camera underneath my sweater, and that was it.
Protect the baby.
I'm a very anxious person, so even if it says weather sealed, I'm like, I don't trust this shit.
It's not waterproof or water resistant. So the sealant basically is that with a lot of lenses that are, and I'm going to use Canon as an example because I'm more familiar with it. They're or weather sealed, so that means you can shoot in, like, rain, for example. And so on the mount on the lens, there's a rubber gasket that creates a seal when you snap it onto the actual camera body.
And that's enough. to avoid the water.
But then also, like, for example, with the 24-70, since it's an external zooming lens, there's also a rubber gasket inside. So if you get water going into the barrel, it's not going to actually leak into the lens.
And talking to a lot of people, most lenses and camera gear, if you're in the rain, you're not really going to have a problem.
That's insane.
Where you're going to have the problem is sand in places like that, because that's where that rubber gasket comes in clutch, because you're not going to get sand in your fucking element. You're not going to like screw up.
There's a Star Wars meme waiting to be said.
But rain's not going to really hurt it. I mean, unless you're dropping it in water or taking it in a place, then you're like fucked. But
the thing why I'm saying this is because I shot a concert last year, like exactly 1 year ago. I had to go to Mexico and film a festival over there. All my I shoot with Sigma Art lenses. The ones I shoot concert with are the Sigma Art 14 to 24, 2.8, the 24 to 70, 2.8, and then the 70 to 200, 2.8 from Sigma. It's not art, it's sport. And I believe all of them are weather sealed, or 2 of them are and 1 is not. And I was freaking out because I saw the weather app and it said it was going to rain. And you know, in a festival, like in the pit, like you're going to get wet.
yeah.
So I, like, before my trip, I bought those, like, plastic bag things for the camera. Like, I was so protective of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I was the only one. Like, I saw all the other photographers in the pit. They had nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually if it's weather sealed, you're good to go.
Dude,
as long as it's not, like, torrential rain. And even then, like for example, for the R6, I think it's fully weather sealed on the top portion of the body, but I think where the battery is, I'm not 100% sure if it's fully weather sealed.
Well, but you're not gonna like.
Yeah, so it's like as long as you don't get anything going into the components underneath where the ceiling's a lot weaker, then you'll be fine.
That's crazy. It's crazy how technology has
done
in some insane type of things. Those new cameras are great. The R6, I have the R5. They're just insane.
I mean,
I want to check out that R5 so bad.
I know.
I'll bring it next time we hang out.
And I'll bring the R6 so we can all play with it.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy. I have all my gear insured, except the R5. I haven't told my insurer that I got that one.
You gotta get on it.
That's why I haven't brought it with you guys.
I still need to learn. I don't have any insurance on any of my gear yet. I need to get something.
I'm gonna just put that out there. Not sponsored, but I have State Farm.
I do too.
And interestingly enough, my cousin's actually my insurance guy.
Oh.
My dad's cousin, so I guess he's my second cousin. I don't know the whole hierarchy of the family. Anyways,
it's great to have someone in the family.
Yeah, but I have business insurance, and so that covers me for liability. So if I go and shoot something and like I damage property or whatever, I'm covered. And I also have, I think it was personal items insurance.
Yeah.
So that covers like all my camera equipment and stuff like that.
Yep.
Was that actually through State Farm, or did they have it subbed? Because I know when I was looking into it, I think they called it an aquamarine.
No, it's personal.
State Farm.
Something policy. I have the same thing. I've had it like almost 2 years now. I am grateful that I've never used it.
Same.
Nothing has ever happened.
Yeah.
And
it covers
I
if your stuff's stolen or damaged.
That's what I need to get.
That's why I don't buy, like, when people say, like, oh, do you want to buy the extended warranty? It's like $300. Like, let's say it's Sammy's camera. I'm like, nah, my insurance covers it. It's like, oh, but you have to pay a deductible. I'm like, yeah.
And the cool thing is that they cover it even, like, if you travel to Thailand or anywhere in the world and they steal it, right? Because as I said, like, as an anxious person, dude, I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
You know? Like, even if I go here where there's no one around, like, having an R5 with any lens is just like, what, $4,000? Yeah. Like, over $4,000?
You're walking around with a big piece of bling.
And I'm tiny. I'm tiny. I cannot...
Carry a knife, man.
No, dude, I'm even scared of that.
Carry a knife. I can't even play it.
What am I going to... Like, if somebody approaches me and says, like, give me your camera, what am I going to do? Like, really bring out the knife and stab him?
I just tell them to go fuck themselves, and then if they really want to take it from me, there's going to be some blows before, you know what I mean? I might not fucking make it, but I'm going to fight.
I would run as fast as I could. If they catch me, then of course I would fight back, you know?
Especially here in LA, the crazier you act, they're not going to fuck with you.
Yeah, true.
So if you step up and you act crazier than them, they're just going to be like, okay, this little dude fucking knows something I don't know. I'm not going to fuck with him.
He's on acid.
Dude, look, this is how my anxiety gets me. I've thought about this situation. I'm like, what if somebody approaches me? Dude, I've seen videos of some people that prank other people, and they take their pants off, and nobody wants to fight them, right? Like, they're like, oh, yeah, come on, dude. And then he takes his pants off, and the other guy, like, runs away. It's like, this dude is fucking crazy. I'm not going to fight him. So I even thought about that. I'm like, if somebody approached me, I'm just going to drop my pants off. But I don't know why it would happen.
All right, you want to fucking go? Let's go. Let's cha-cha right now.
But anyway, that's why I have insurance.
Yeah.
I want to avoid getting my pants off in the middle of the street. I have insurance, and I recommend everyone to get insurance. Yeah. I haven't told my insurer that I have the R5 to put them in the policy. That's why I haven't like gotten it out that much.
Yeah. I mean, I that's usually literally as soon as I buy the camera at Sammy's, I take a picture of the receipt and I email my guys like, hey, here's the serial number, here's the receipt, add this to my policy, and then like let's say for the R, since I sold it, I tell them add this, take this out.
Yeah,
so that's why it's good to use the Jared Pullen app, because when I was shopping for it, you have all your gear in the gear vault, right? And it has the serial number, it has how much you paid for it in there. What you do is there's a little file you can click on, and it makes the menu for them. So it has everything listed, so you can just send it to your insurance company, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. We have the serial number, we have what you paid for it, and then they just insure it.
Yeah, I feel like my insurer is like annoyed by every time I'm like, no, I have this flash, but I sold this other one.
But that's their job, though.
I mean,
you start paying them like. As long as you're not an asshole about it, I think they're cool. Like, I send it to my guy, and I was like, hey, feel free to, like, add this when you can. But as long as it's, like, on the record on an email that
then you're fine.
Yeah.
I haven't done that because I'm, like, procrastinate a lot.
Like, my mentor, Mark, one of the last things he told me before he passed away was to get insurance, and he was a wedding photographer, and what happened, all of his shit was stolen at a wedding.
Jeez, at the wedding.
At the wedding. Man. So what happened was, he finished up the wedding, he was loading up the stuff into the elevator on his cart, because it was a one-man show, so he showed up with like lights and stands and everything. And so he was loading the stuff up, the elevator closed, it went down, came back up, it was gone. $22,000 worth of equipment.
And he had just shot the wedding, and the file's gone.
Everything's gone. So he didn't get paid for the wedding. All of his shit was stolen.
How do you tell the client, like, hey, on your most important day, I don't have anything?
That's why you have it in the contract. I have a thing that.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, but all my gear just got stolen at your wedding.
But
oh my God.
Thanks for nothing.
20 grand in gear.
Yeah. And so what he said was, I had insurance, so I just called them up and I just told them what happened. And they wrote me a check, and I got all my equipment back. But make sure to get insurance, because that's your livelihood.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Not everybody has 22 grand.
No, dude.
Lying around. And that's, over years of hard work.
Yeah.
Here's something that happened to my friend Miguel. So this is kind of a good thing, too, is if you have all your serial numbers and everything written down. My friend got his camera. He left it in his car. Went to the store, came out, and somebody broke into his car, and they stole a bunch of shit. And his camera bag, or his backpack that it was in, was there. And he had I don't know if it was a vintage camera, but he had a bunch of vintage lenses. He ended up finding it a couple months later at a pawn shop.
No way.
Because he went to go look for another camera, found it, looked through it, and the card was still in there with his pictures. So he showed the guy, hey, my camera got stolen. Here's my police report. This is the emails that I have. This is my camera. Look, it even has my pictures, and the card's still there. The pawn shop gave it to him. They didn't charge him. They just gave him all his stuff back.
That's crazy, because the pawn shop gave money to the thief, right?
But they had that guy's information and records, so guess who they're gonna go collect from?
Okay, I didn't know that.
They gave him all his stuff back. So if you have all your shit and your stuff, and you have a police report, whatever, you can go comb the pawn shops, and you have a chance to get all your shit back for free, and you've already claimed your insurance money at that point. So.
Okay.
It's a win-win.
How does it work? How does it work with insurance? Let's say tomorrow. I don't even want to say it.
Okay, we'll say it with me. So let's say my stuff gets stolen. So I've never have ever dealt with this before. But I would assume that you call your insurance provider and tell them what happened. Like, hey, look, all my equipment got stolen. What are the next steps I need to take to get, file a claim and then get the insurance money, and then they'll walk you through it.
Okay.
For example, my sister actually had her stuff stolen years ago out of her boyfriend's car. Someone broke in. They literally stepped out to go see if this was the spot that they were going to go to the Airbnb. And someone broke into their car and stole all of her shit, so they stole her camera. But because it was her car, when she called up the insurance company, she told them what happened. And they actually helped her file a claim for the stuff that was stolen on top of the damages. And so she was able to actually get her money back and was able to buy a new camera with it.
So basically they give you the money of what you spend. Like, for instance, your R6 is what? $2,500. So they'll give you $2,500.
Yeah, I would assume. Or you would have to pay, let's say you have a deductible of, I don't know, let's say $1,000. So you pay that deductible, and then I think they pay you the rest. I'm not too sure how it works. I should actually ask my guy.
That's what it does. Because my friend's my insurance agent, and that's who she was trying to set. She was trying to set me up with it, an insurance, and then for some reason they stopped calling me at the place that I was trying to deal with because I was busy.
Yeah. And
then same thing with when I tried to get it through Jared Poland's thing, which it's frozen now, and I can't fix anything with that. But what she said is, okay, say your insurance is worth like $4,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then something gets stolen. So they're gonna say, okay, so this got stolen. That item was worth like $2,500. Our deductible is $500. So we'll just pay you out $2,000 because you're paying for the deductible out of that money. If it's $1,000 and it's a $3,000 item, then you're only gonna get $2,000.
Yeah.
So say if everything gets stolen and your deductible's $1,000 and your gear bag's worth $6,000, you're gonna get $5,000 back. So you're not going to get all $6,000 back.
No, but at least
$1,000. But that's just a good starting point. You can still buy back most of your gear at that point.
Yeah. Like with me, if all of my gear was stolen, and I think I have just camera equipment alone, I think it's worth about $8,000. If all my gear was stolen, I would probably just get like another R6 and the 24-70.
And then start picking up lenses.
And then maybe the 85 f2 again because it's inexpensive, and then just kind of go with that kit.
Yeah.
Because I know that the 24-70 is going to cover all my ranges that I need.
Yeah.
And then 85 will be more for, if I'm shooting a wedding and something a little longer.
Yeah.
Actually, I should check to see how much my deductible is. I know I'm only paying like $80 every 3 months, which is another great thing.
I pay like $500 or $1,000.
I pay $30.
I think that's what they cap them at. I think it's either $500 or $1,000.
I mean, even if it's $1,000, it's good.
Yeah.
Like your shit gets stolen, you pay $1,000 and then you get all your gear. That's great.
Yeah. Insurance is nice.
Like you can afford $1,000, you cannot afford $10,000.
And that comes out of the whatever they pay you out, so you don't even have to put up $1,000. They just give you like however much back that you need.
Oh. But it's good to have insurance, and you should get insurance, man.
Yeah, I know I need to get it already.
Get it, man.
Yeah.
I have to figure out, I have to call her up and figure out if I can get back with whoever she was trying to set me up, because I guess she works for Farmers, and Farmers doesn't directly do it. They do it, but it's called like an aquamarine or some shit like that. And even when I tried to do it under Jared Poland's app, it was the same thing. But that insurance company like tried calling me, and then I can't update anything on the app. Like with the new equipment, I can't put in for an insurance thing because it's like frozen, saying that I'm still waiting for a response. So I'm like,
crazy.
What the fuck? Like they should be able to like cancel it and then redo it. But
I mean, with me, I just the way I have it set up is like I talk to my cousins like, hey, I need to get like business insurance. This is what I do for a living, and I also need my equipment insurance. So they walked me through the process. They got everything for me, and then I just gave them basically the way I do it that has worked for me was photo of the receipt with the serial number and then the barcode for the actual box. That's why I keep all my boxes. And then they input it, and then I just make sure on the app everything matches. Yeah. And then most recently, actually, when I checked on the app, it still said that I had the Sony 85-1.8 on there when I was shooting with Sony. So I told my guy, hey, I no longer have that lens.
Take it off the...
So they actually made my my premium go down, so they actually reimbursed me some money.
Oh, they did? Great. I have to check that app. Because you have State Farm, I have State Farm.
Yeah, I have it on the app, man. It's super easy. You can pull up the PDF and everything.
Huh, I didn't even know that existed. Yeah, it's so easy to do that. You should do it, Manny.
Yeah, I got to get it just because... And I'm not planning on having the RP very long. I might be upgrading to the R6 in my near future.
Oh, yeah? I mean, the RP's such a good camera.
I'm going to hang on to it just because it's so small.
I like how small it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll see what happens. It depends on how business is. If business picks up to where I need something more, I'll get it. Or I might even get the R5, depending on.
For me, it's like I've shot with the Sony A7 R3 and had 42 megapixel files. So that for me, that's why I'm kind of avoiding the R5, even though in some respects it's better.
Yeah.
But just the 20 megapixel file sizes out of the R6 are so easy to work with.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's still plenty to crop. Like, you're gonna lose some detail, but
Yeah,
everything lives on Instagram.
The only reason why I got the R5 was because of it has more megapixels, and before COVID, I used to deliver some pictures of concerts to magazines. Like they actually print the pictures.
Oh, okay.
So to print, like, you need a higher resolution than if it's like for screen, right?
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I got the R5. I haven't used it right now. Like, it hasn't bringing me any benefits having that many megapixels because I haven't worked.
Yeah.
Like with magazines or anything in 8 months. So I hope after COVID happened, like after everything comes back normal, like my camera will be good for those magazines, you know? But if it was not for that, like the R6 is just great. I mean, the R is great too. The RP, all of them are great. Like, all of them are good.
Yeah, I just hope in the near future they could do something about the overheating with the firmware.
I'm sure.
Because I really think it's just software.
I'm sure they will, because with the R6 and the R5, like after everyone tested it, that was like the main conversation. Like, it heats up.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the next release they're gonna be like, okay, what do we need to avoid haters when we release a new camera? Don't make it heat up.
I don't think they're going to, because it's going to bury their cinema line.
Yeah, and they have the C70 coming out.
They have new cinema cameras. They're going to keep it like throttled, basically. They're throttling basically your how much record
the new
time
cinema
you have,
cameras are nice, though.
Yeah.
They don't want to freaking put something out there that's going to kill their cinema line.
I mean,
like,
I get
their
that.
moneymaker.
I get that. And everyone on YouTube is like, it heats up with filming 8K or 4K. It's not a video camera. It's not a video camera. That's what people need to understand.
I mean, and here's the thing, too. It's like, you look at the Panasonic, I think it's the S1R, or one of the new ones that shoots 6K. It has a fan, so like there's actually there's a fan built in to keep it cool because it's shooting 6K full frame. And at least from what Canon said, they didn't do a fan for the R5 or the R6 because it was going to compromise the weather sealing integrity. Okay. Which I rather have better weather sealing so I could shoot in the rain versus potentially ruining the camera. But it's all good. I shoot 1080p. 1080p is future proof, man.
1080p is great. You don't need more than that, I think. And as I said, it's a photo camera that can shoot video. Yeah. At least when I had the 5D Mark II, that's how I saw the camera. It's like, oh yeah, my camera records some film. And that's how I see like the R5s even. It's a photo camera that records video. Yeah. You know? If you're a videographer, don't get that type of camera. Get those film cameras.
Yeah, like that's what I tell people. It's like when they ask me, should I get this or the Sonys? And I was like, well, if you're going to shoot more video, get the Sony. Yeah, and that's what they were made for.
Yeah, that's why I'm considering the R6 versus the R5. Like, I think the R6, the only reason why I would upgrade is just for that extra bit of clarity. Yeah. Because of the fact that it doesn't have that filter in front of it, like filter. The RP. Yeah, like the RP. But as far as like megapixel wise goes, like I'm not doing extreme editing, so I don't really care to have that extra megapixel. Because for printing, you don't really need it too much. Yeah. It's just mainly for the editing process.
I mean, I made some 11:16.
I'm not a Photoshop guy. So.
That's great.
And like they look great. Yeah. And yeah, it's like, and then with my content specifically, it's on Instagram. Instagram already compresses the shit out of your files. Yeah. Crazy. So you won't even see the true high-res images unless you're going on something like Flickr. True. And then for YouTube, almost all my traffic comes from mobile. Yeah. And mobile, it doesn't do 4K. Like 4K, so it's like, okay, the highest it goes for most phones is 1080p.
And also YouTube compresses the videos. Yeah. You know? Like, yeah. So then why get like an 8K video camera? Yeah. Yeah, the R6 is great. Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about your future goals. Like, what's going to happen in the future with, what are you guys doing? What are you guys planning to do? Are you sticking to product photography? Are you going to wait to do the boudoir? Or are you going to get into something else?
I'm not quite sure. I think for me, future-wise, I'm kind of always been go with the flow. Mm-hmm. Okay. So as far as boudoir goes, I still want to do that because there's a lot of reasons why I like shooting that style or why I want to do that style. Yeah. For one, it's like, I want to just be able to have the flexibility of creating something and making art, and in the same time turning around and being able to present art to a man or woman and make them feel good about themselves with seeing themselves differently. Yeah. That's the main reason why I shoot boudoir. As far as like where I'm going to head like in the future, I mean, I just want to be creative, and whatever creative outlet takes me there, whether it's video, photography, music, as long as I can create something and be happy with it, I'm fine with it. Like,
great. No, I think that's the way to go. How about you, David?
I think with me, it's more of just kind of continue what I'm doing, because I definitely feel like I found a lot of good success doing product photography. Like, I still want to shoot events and weddings because those are always fun.
Yeah.
And obviously the money's a lot better in those respects, but until everything kind of gets figured out with the whole pandemic, like if just doing product photography from home is gonna help me make a living, then I'll continue doing it. As far as I guess my goals for next year is, now that I have a much better setup at home and everything, really start pushing out more YouTube videos and, you know, try to grow an audience there. That, because I just feel it in my heart that if I really buckle down and do more YouTube, then I'll be able to find more success and like do that for a living, so I don't actually have to go get a day job again.
Yeah, that's the main goal.
Yeah.
To be honest, like I'm in the same situation as you. That's why I want to grow my following, you know, to become my own client, if that makes sense. Like, I do love working with people, right? But sometimes it's hectic and stressful and stuff like that. And somebody mentioned it in a YouTube video that I saw. It's like, for instance, Peter McKinnon. Yeah, he works with a lot of brands, right? Yeah. That he gets paid for. But it was like, in a point in his career, he was his own client. He was making videos for himself. He's like, I have this gear. Let me make a video about this gear. And then that video made money somehow with sponsors and stuff like that. And he became his own client. Yeah. I want to, like, that's my goal. Like, to be honest, like, yes, I want to teach photography, but for instance, I want to like get people and teach photography and make a video out of it, and I'm my own client. Yeah. You know, I'm teaching you guys or anyone how to do a certain type of pictures. Yeah. It gets hectic, and especially now during COVID, all my clients are gone. Like, what if in 2 or 3 years it happens again? Like, you something different. Like, I want to have I don't want to feel pressured to hustle this much and be anxious all the time. And it's just stressful, man. It's just depressing. It gets me depressed. It gets me not motivated. Like, it's like, I lost my clients. Dude, what's going on? Yeah. It's crazy. So yeah, at the end of the day, I want to grow my following on Instagram, YouTube, become my own client, and have like the security that's getting me income.
Yeah. And I think a big thing to that is just to do you. Yeah. Like, I think a lot of people get like caught up in the misconception of, oh, I gotta hustle, I gotta do this. It gets daunting doing that stuff. When you're hustling and you're trying to chase that dollar, oh man, it takes away the drive, it takes away the creativity, it takes away just your motivation to do anything, because you're just like, fuck, I'm not making money, fuck, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing the work that I love to do, I'm not happy with it. And I always tell people this when I used to do a lot of music, the bands that get followed are the bands that are doing the shit they want to do. Yeah. They're having the most fun on stage, and people see the fun that they're having on stage, and they're having it out at the show. Yeah. Same thing with your work. You're having fun making video, you're having fun shooting photography. It's going to show in your work, and eventually you're going to gain a following doing it.
I know.
I just think kind of in talking with David a lot, I've kind of learned a lot more with that on the photography side of things, because even when we were in Pasadena the other day, you're like, fuck, I can't believe I know all these people. And it's because you've kind of just reached out to so many people. That's doing great. This and that, helping this and that you're starting to kind of grow now, because people are like, hey, David, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? Like, it goes a long way to kind of just put yourself out there and kind of bite the bullet and not chase money, to kind of meet those people and grow, because then eventually people are going to start asking you.
I think
it's kind of
I think to add to what Manny's saying too, it's also, I think all of us have the bad habit of sometimes comparing ourselves to other people that are successful
every single day.
And the thing that I found doing my Instagram over the last year and kind of growing it, it's just kind of like, who gives a fuck what everyone else is doing? Just kind of focus on what you're doing, and kind of like how Manny said, you know, just have fun with it.
Yeah.
Like when I first started my page, I didn't expect to be sitting here with meeting you both through that page.
That's crazy. That's so cool.
And, you know, having 45,000 followers and, you know, have gotten like plenty of gigs through that page. I never thought about it. I just said, you know what? I just want to take really cool pictures of my camera, my EOS R, because it's a fucking awesome camera.
It's amazing.
And now here we are, like almost a year later.
So crazy.
Or
That's
over
amazing.
a year later.
Yeah.
So.
And Manny, you said something very important. Like, for instance, David, he is known in Pasadena because you've worked with people. They see you with a camera, they know what's up, and you reach out, right? Mm-hmm. And this happens to me. Like, as I said, I'm anxious. I am shy, which is not good in any industry, right? Like, being shy has shut me so many doors. And I'm sure, like, it has shut, like, other people that are shy because we're afraid to reach out. Or what are they going to think? Or I'm not good enough. Yeah. What do you guys recommend for people like me? I mean, I'm working on it, but I know there's a lot of other people like me, like, that are, like, timid.
I've got an analogy for that.
All right.
So
let's hear it.
Basically, I knew some guy in high school. Ugliest fucking dude. Ugliest fucking dude.
Okay.
He'd always have the most beautiful women as his girlfriend.
Okay.
You know why?
Because he talked to them.
Because
he was brave
he didn't care about getting rejected. He just fucking asked them and talked to them. And it was like, you're going to have a million no's, but you're going to have that one that says yeah. And it's just, you got to just put yourself out there. And that's the way to do it, because you're going to get no's, you're going to get yeses, but you can't be afraid of it. Yeah. It is what it is. And if you don't put yourself out there, you're never going to know what you can get.
I know.
And even being shy, like I'm very shy also. Like, it takes a while for me when I get in a group of friends to open up and to just, I'm an open book everywhere else, but when it comes to meeting people, I'm very enclosed and shy and timid. And I've been trying to work around that. Even doing music as much as I have, like, there's a lot of times where I've met so many people throughout the years and I don't remember them because I was always like, oh, I got to go now. Like, I got to do this because I was so scared of opening up.
I am like that.
Like, for me, I guess the advice I would impart to you and, like, other people listening is I've been seeing a lot of ads for this company called Bullstrap. They make iPhone cases, wallets, and stuff like that.
I've seen you post about it.
Yeah. So their ads started popping up on my side, like, months ago. And I was just like, I wonder if I could ask them if they have, like, some sort of ambassador program or something like that where I could work with them in exchange for, you know, they send me products and whatnot to photograph.
Yeah.
And I thought about it. I was like, fuck, what if they say no? And I kind of flip-flop back and forth. And I just said, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to just ask them, like, hey, you know, this is what I do. Do you guys have some sort of, like, ambassador program, or what kind of content you guys looking to, like, build up and or expand upon? And because I had the following and my page is basically all, like, product photography, they were blown away by the quality of the photos and everything. So we started a conversation, and then within a couple weeks I was working with them. They were sending me stuff.
That's
and
great.
I was photographing it. I've asked other companies as well, and most of them have said, no, we don't have an ambassador program, but, you know, thank you for reaching out. And so kind of like how Manny said, like, you know, just keep asking. And if you know that, if you're confident about the work that you're doing, so even if they tell you no, you're like, okay, cool. Like, you know, I tried, let's move on to the next one. And eventually someone will give you the opportunity to say yes.
True. Yeah, that's...
I mean, shit, like with Armor Supply, I just recently worked with them this year. They hired me to do photos and video for their new wallet, the Stealth Box set.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. It's crazy.
And the year before, I bought one of their wallets, and I just started photographing it because that was around the time I started really getting into EDC. And I started talking with the owners of the company, and we got a relationship forming and building over the course of the year. And then they thought of me when they say, oh, we need content for our new wallet, so they hit me up, and then they hired me.
That's cool. So
just put yourself out there, and don't be afraid to ask. And if they say no, okay, whatever. There's millions of other brands you could ask.
Yeah, I know. The thing is, like, it sounds so easy, and then it's not. What gets me, like, through it sometimes, like, for instance, gathering with people, like, the first time we met, like, I was very nervous.
Yeah.
Like, I have to, like, pretend I'm not. But then when I get home, I'm, like, so exhausted from pretending that I'm not anxious, you know? What gets me through it sometimes, it's coffee.
I love coffee.
Yeah.
Because,
it gets you more anxious.
It gets me, like, all right. Like, to be honest, like, without coffee, I don't speak, like, this much.
Yeah.
And I'm, like, anxious and, like, you know, shy. Coffee is great. Like,
it's a nice icebreaker.
Yeah, definitely.
I think one of the most recent videos that Peter did with Manny for their podcast was with Kirk, his editor. And one of the things that Kirk said to Peter, because basically the conversation was going around around like with Peter sometimes just not having any idea of what he wants to do. He's like, he just kind of sulks and says, fuck, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
We've all been there. And the thing that Kirk told him was, you know, don't get so, like, stuck in your head. Mm-hmm. Something along the lines, don't quote me, like, go watch the video. But he basically said something along the lines of, like, don't worry, like, don't get so focused and caught up inside your head just to, like, if you have an idea, just go do it.
Yeah.
And hearing that from somebody that I've never met in person, like we chit-chat on Instagram, and then hearing him say that to somebody I really admire, like Peter McKinnon, who's one of the biggest creators on YouTube,
crazy,
who still struggles to come up with ideas, is very humbling. I was like, and it makes me feel better. I was like, okay, I'm not the only one that's kind of experiencing that.
Yeah, true. The thing is, like, we only post and we see posts of the best, how can I say this? Like, the good things about somebody's life.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I don't post when I'm depressed. I'm not post when I'm in bed, like, not being able to get up or not having motivation to go shoot.
Yeah.
Nobody does that. We only see, like, the great things that they post and the great things they're doing and the new gear and everything. It's just crazy how social media messes with your mind.
Yeah. You always have, like, this expectation that you're trying to meet, but you never meet it.
I know.
What trips me out about people like Peter or, like, people who do video in general is they can take something that's really nothing, just somebody riding a skateboard in the park, and make it look like it's the fucking greatest thing ever. Like, they're on vacation somewhere, like, doing, like, this crazy-ass shit, and it's not. They just know how to put together that video that tell a story and to suck people in, and it's really not, like... It's a trip because I want to get there to where I can look at something and break it down to the point of saying, okay, I want to edit something like this, this, and this to make it tell that story, to make it look like it's something so epic and grand, and it's really not. I just spent 30 minutes shooting at a fucking park, and it looks like this most epic video ever.
It's crazy.
It's crazy how they can do that, and it's nuts.
Well, it's crazy, but the good thing about photography is that there is a community out there.
Yeah.
So if anyone is listening, hang out with your local photographers. Go on Instagram and search the place tag. You know, if you live in wherever you live, just search that hashtag or the location, and there's gonna be photographers out there. Just hang out with them.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Make a podcast. Make a video.
I mean, I think the three of us are prime examples of that. Well, we all kind of connected through Instagram.
100%.
And I like shooting with other people all the time.
I love
because, like, for instance, we went out to Pasadena. We shot the other day. The way David sees something is going to be different than the way I see something. The way you see something is going to be different. So all of our edits or all of our pictures, the story that we tell is going to be way different. And I like that because it kind of gets you in the other person's mindset, in the person's head, and you're like, oh, that's so cool to see stuff from other points of view. Like, we're not all out shooting the same thing. We're not all making the same art. Like, it's all different.
I think my favorite photo that you got from that outing was when the lady was sitting on the stairs and she was smoking, but you only got the hand with the cigarette.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even see that, and when you got that shot, I was like, "Fuck, that's a really good shot."
Yeah, that was amazing.
You know, so
all I saw was the smoke coming. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Let me see if I can see her, and I just seen the very front part of her face, and I waited.
But we also pay attention to very different things. For me, like, I noticed that you like to go for more of the finer details when it comes to street photography.
Yeah, I saw that.
With me, I kind of just like to snipe people, like, walking, kind of doing their thing. Mostly from behind, that way I don't have to worry about them complaining about, like, oh, why'd you shoot me? And then you like doing, like, the real, like, traditional street photography, getting real close to your subjects with the Fujifilm, because you shot film before. So it's just really
different.
I really like the vibe I felt that day, just kind of like seeing all of our styles.
Me too. I loved it.
Like mix and match.
Yeah.
or like when we started swapping lenses, that completely changed the game.
I know. It's great. Like after we were done that day, I was fucking happy.
I want to get that Fujifilm. I don't need it. I want it though.
That's the camera that I wanted forever, but I don't know. I'm still torn between that and the Ricoh GR.
It's a great camera too.
Because the Ricoh GR, I feel like it can just fit in any pocket. I don't have to carry a jacket, and I can just bust it out whenever. But I'm like, there's something about the look of the Fuji camera that I just want. It just looks so fucking good.
It's beautiful. It's
I like the design
beautiful.
of the Fuji because it's like a poor man's Leica. Let's just be real. It's a poor man's Leica.
That's
and
what
if
it
you
is.
want to shoot JPEG, it's got all the film simulations in there. Like you don't have to do shit. Just set your composition and your lighting right, and you're perfect.
That's like the lazy person's photography.
Yeah, you don't have to edit.
But sometimes that's what you want.
Yeah.
Like for instance, having all these lenses, having all this gear, sometimes you're like overwhelmed.
Yeah.
You're in your head like, okay, what should I bring for this shoot? Like the 135, the 85, the 50, should I bring all three? What am I going to shoot with? You know? So if you have that, that's why I take the Fuji one.
And it forces you to think outside the box.
Yeah.
We were just talking about the lenses for street. Mm-hmm. David and I were talking about it in our little group chat, and I'm like, it's weird because sometimes I feel like the 35 is not enough anymore because I feel like the 135 or something bigger than an 85 and up, it's going to give you a different look. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the street photography that I like is the 35 or is like a 24 or something, and it's because it forces you to use a different view, a different perspective, and like maybe I feel like I'm not good enough to shoot with that focal length because I just want to shoot like certain details or whatever, but I could still do it. It's just I have to kind of be known. If I want to shoot somebody, I have to kind of be in their face, and I'm like, I don't know about that.
I know, but now with the cameras being so small, like it's fine. You know, they have the tilt screen, so you don't have to be like pointing at them.
Yeah.
And then the Fuji one, I put when you take the picture that there's no sound.
Yeah.
So you just like press it, but there's no like. You know.
Yeah.
So you can like literally like just be like taking a picture and they don't even know.
Just like blast somebody.
That's one thing with the Ricoh Street version. Like the only difference between that Street Edition, besides the color and that freaking bright yellow ring that you'd probably want to take off and swap, is you can shoot on the screen. You can touch the screen and it'll focus and shoot.
That's cool.
So if you're just kind of like fiddling with it, you can just touch it and nobody knows because they're looking for this action. They don't know that you're hitting a touch screen.
I think with me and like I like the Fuji, but the reason I also bought the RP is back, last year I had the M50.
Oh, yeah.
And, I had the 22 millimeter. And I was like, okay, it's a perfect little street photography lens, but it's just like, I like the look of full frame. And basically the way I see the RP, it's like a full frame M50.
Yes,
that's RF,
totally.
so I could use the 35. And that was kind of like the reason I bought the 35 as well, was for street photos. But like the other day when I went to Chinatown, I was like, kind of the same dilemma you said, like, what lens did I bring? I was like, I'm going to bring the 85 because that's my favorite lens to shoot street with.
Yeah.
And I got some good results with it.
Good.
And I think it was because, like, I knew what lens I was using. I didn't have to worry about, like, oh, fuck, I want to go wider. I need to change lenses. So the less work I have to do in terms of, like, figuring out the gear, the better. And I'm pretty sure once I get the 50 mil, I'm going to just literally slap it onto the RP and then go for a walk with it and just go take some pictures with it.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Like, sometimes, like, I would be very obsessed with one lens, right? Like 85 or 35. But then the next month, I'm obsessed with another one.
Yeah.
And it changes completely. Like, like, it's great. Like, that's the great thing about photography. Like, you can do so many things, man.
I never looked at it that a lens was just a tool. Before I thought, I need this lens or I need this lens. And then now I'm starting to kind of figure it out because I've actually been playing with the lenses more. And I think because of the fact that EF glass is so much cheaper to get nowadays that I'm like kind of like, okay, this is not that much. I'm going to go buy this. And then I know I can resell it. So I can play with this lens for a while, resell it and buy something else.
And what you bought, like how many lenses in the last few months?
Too many, and I wasn't doing that before. When I had my T6i, I just had my Sigma art lens, and then I had a couple little cheap primes. And that was it. I was like, oh fuck that! I'm not spending $1,000 on this lens. I'm not doing that. That's way too much money.
That lens is only like $500.
Now I'm like, that lens is like $500 compared to $2,500. I'm good. I'll do the 500 and I'll fucking play with it for a little bit and then swap it.
Let's talk a little bit about that before we end the podcast. Gear acquisition disorder, is it called?
Syndrome, I think.
Syndrome.
gas.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
That's a thing. Like that, dude. Every day, I'm seeing like, what is Canon releasing? What is the new lens? What is the new camera? What is the new everything? And I want it all.
Yeah.
So, and as you said, like you bought too many lenses this past months. Like I do the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And sometimes they're just there getting dust, you know? So that's a thing for you guys too, right? Like you guys want like the new thing or the new lens.
That's actually one of the reasons why before I bought the RP, I wanted the Fuji X100V. I just wanted, if I was stuck with one lens, I was stuck with one lens. I'm going to learn to adapt. Because before that, when I first learned how to shoot photography, it was all with my phone.
Okay.
And I didn't have zoom. I didn't have different focal ranges. And like, I kind of wanted to put myself in that box again. Yeah. But I knew there was other things I was going to be shooting, like my daughter's sports events and stuff like that. So that's the whole reason why I went the RP versus the XT100 or the X100V, because I wanted to be able to be versatile in that sense.
Yeah.
But I knew I was going to be fucked with, I need this lens, I need that lens, and I wanted to try this lens.
Crazy.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I still want the Fuji or the Ricoh, is so I can just have an everyday carry camera.
Yeah. That's why I got the Fuji.
So I'm not worried about lenses, and then I can just separate. Well, for work, I have the option of switching out different tools for different as needed.
That's
because if I don't, I'm gonna want to keep buying lenses.
I know.
With me, it's more of like I want it because it's like, you know, for example, the Fuji. But I already know, because this isn't my first rodeo. It's like my fourth one. And that's also how I fell into debt. I was just buying shit I didn't need. Like, I bought the gimbal, I used it twice, and I sold it. And I bought a monitor, used it a few times, and I sold it. You know, so if I were to say buy the Fuji X100V, I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to start liking Fuji, and then I'm going to eventually want to get the X-T4. Because they have that new, what was it? I think it was like a 50 millimeter or a 56
I don't
millimeter
even want to
1.0.
research because I'm going to want it.
Well, they have a new one, a new like portrait lens that's like a 1.0 aperture.
Holy shit!
Yeah, it's fucking dumb.
What?
But I mean,
but doesn't that change because it's cropped?
Yeah, so it's gonna. I think I want to say it's closer to like a one, maybe a f1.2.
Okay.
Still,
that's still, yeah.
Or 1.8, but still, 1.0.
Yeah.
And it's weather sealed and everything, so it's just like I'm gonna want to buy that.
Yeah, no.
And then, but then it's like. That, again, that's also why I bought the RP, was because I wanted a small full-frame camera that could take good pictures for street photography. And, I mean, with my Peak design, I'm able to carry the RP with the 35 and the 85, and it fits perfectly.
And the small one, right? What bag do you have? The 6L or 5L?
No, it's the 3-liter. It's the V2 3-liter.
I just got that one because they have the 20% off.
Oh, okay.
That's great. I thought you had the bigger one.
No, I just got the small one. Because basically, I just want to be able to throw a camera in there, maybe a battery bank and spare battery.
So you can fit the RP with a 35 and then another lens?
Yeah.
That's
great. What I wanted too, so I don't have something that just looks like this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good.
But now with that, the 50's coming out, I might even be able to squeeze 3 lenses into that tiny bag.
Probably.
I'm sure.
I won't need 3 lenses for street photography.
Yeah, you're getting crazy. You're going.
You just need to pick one lens and stick with it.
I honestly think I'm probably gonna really like fall in love with the 50 millimeter, because when I had the Nifty 50, it was one of those lenses where I would use like very rarely, and I bought it because it's stupid cheap. Everyone's like, "Oh, buy this as your first lens." Like,
that's all I ever used forever.
Me too.
And then I went to the Sigma Art 30, and that was my go-to lens.
Too.
But now that I know how to shoot street photography a lot better, I'm probably gonna start using that. Because even though when we use the 35, when we've gone out shooting with it, I usually just crop the RP sensor down to a 50.
Yeah.
Because I want a slightly tighter like look.
Yeah.
I don't know, like I used to love shooting wide, but now I'm not really a huge fan of it, unless like it's more to put a subject in context and tell a story. Where
I basically decided the whole street thing was when I was doing the protests, because then when I was using the 70 to 200 and seeing what it did to like how it captured people, I'm like, I fucking need I need a tighter lens for it.
Well, if we shoot weddings together, I'll shoot on the wide end, you'll shoot the tights.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for coming to the park and hanging out.
Thanks for having us.
All right.
You're going to be on our podcast soon.
Yeah.
Dude, I wish.
Once we figure out when we're going to record.
Well, once you get your new computer and we get everything situated.
Well,
Yeah.
I have
my
old computer's ready to go. It's
then
done.
we could probably let's aim for this week because I have to do one more video for my client, and I already have everything shot, so I just need to edit it. So I'll probably start doing that today or tomorrow. So let's aim for sometime next week.
All right.
And then we'll bring you along.
Yeah, please. I want to talk with you guys more. All right. Thank you guys. See you in the next episode.
Peace. Later.
Thank you so much for sticking around for this episode. David and Manny are the best. You should follow them on their Instagrams. I will put it on the bio. And thank you so much. Please subscribe or keep listening to the podcast. Look for me on Instagram and ask any questions you might have. Thank you so much. See you in the next episode.